Between 1910 and 1970, over 6 million African Americans fled the Jim Crow South in hopes of escaping racial violence and pursuing prosperity, altering the demographic of many urban cities today, as well as creating tight-knit golf communities who fought for the integration of golf. This is the story of Chicago.
People say Chicago's very cold. Chicago is very cold in the winter, but it's better to freeze to death in the winter in Chicago than be burned alive in the South. That's from the Chicago Defender. It was not just a Chicago newspaper, it was a national newspaper, in part because the Pullman Porters carried it with them around the South. It seemed to present hope and opportunity to African Americans because you had a growing, vibrant African American community in Chicago.
Chicago's black population tripled during the first wave of the Great Migration and ballooned to over 1 million black citizens by its end around 1970. And no one did more to lay the foundation for black folks to live and prosper in Chicago than Ida B. Wells.
Whether we're talking about women's suffrage, whether we're talking about actually saving the lives of African Americans who've escaped the South, whether we're talking about programs for young people, Ida B. Wells crossed class as well as racial lines in organizing for the advancement of African Americans. I've argued more than once that the most important single person in African American history in Chicago is not Harold Washington and it's not Barack Obama, it's Ida B. Wells.
When it came to the booming black community in the Chi, folks like Bobby Anderson and Ted Rhodes were catalysts to cultural change.
And Bobby Anderson was the best player in Chicago for a long time.
I'm very fortunate. I grew up across the street from Bobby. Bobby would put on a clinic every day for us and taught us how to play.
Ted Rhodes' granddaughter Tiffany has sought to bring community enrichment and programs to the black community.
The Ted Rhodes Foundation was founded in 1993 to keep my grandfather's legacy alive. We wanted to find a way to introduce him to many in the game of golf that didn't know about his accomplishments. He won over 150 tournaments during his career, and he really was a fighter because he believed that African Americans should play the game. He was the first African American in the modern era to play in the US Open. He also led a group of golfers to take the PGA to court so that blacks could play the game. They won the lawsuit, and then they made the tournaments invitationals so that it made it difficult, for them to play, but he definitely made an impact in the game. It's interesting, golf entered my life at a later stage. I consider myself kind of a late bloomer. It's tough when you are a beginner and you're the granddaughter of golf pioneer Ted Rhodes. People expect, that you are ready for the tour, and I'm just learning, just give me a little bit more time. I have been hosting through the foundation golf clinics to get more people into the game, get more women and get more people of color playing the game. And we continue just to educate our youth about the accomplishments and how they are able to play the game because of people like my grandfather.